Hi everyone, I'm Kendra with Modern Home Economics. I wanted to talk with you today a little bit about functional planning. There are so many videos out there right now that have to do with decorative planning, about using stickers. They don't actually show you how they plan, how they break things down. Now there are a few people out there that do functional planning and they're really good at it. Antonisha Plans, Brady Michelle Plans, The Planner Spot, Carrie Harling. All of these people I've watched for quite a while and I really enjoy their planning style and how they break things down. It makes a lot of sense to me. So I wanted to talk with you a little bit today about my background, how I got where I am today, because I've come a long ways. I've been doing planning for quite a long time. Obviously in high school and college I had to do some sort of planning in order to get through, but I really got involved in breaking down projects and being productive. When I graduated from college, I got heavily into Getting Things Done by David Allen, or GTD. A lot of it was about projects and breaking them down into tasks and getting things accomplished. And somewhere along the way, I started to wonder, I'm getting a lot of things done, but am I getting the right things done? About 10 years ago, we started a company, my mom, my sister, and I. So there's a lot of goal setting that went along with that, but it was all company related. I remember right when we started, we stopped and everybody said, in 5 years, if we're really successful, we could step away. What would we want to do? And I didn't know. I had no idea. My whole focus was on the company, and it was that way for the last 10 years. It wasn't really until the end of last year, beginning of this year, that I realized, I should probably do some goal setting for myself and figure out what I would like to do, how to make myself healthy and happy, aside from just working on company stuff. A few things went into that. I actually now am fully staffed and I have a really good accounting team. So I'm actually able to focus on things like that now. What am I supposed to do? And even at the beginning of this year, I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. So that was really literally the first thing I had to work on the beginning of the year is, what is my job description? Since I started from doing it myself all the way up to a team of 4, things have evolved. I've never really sat down and figured out, what am I supposed to be doing now? What is my job description supposed to be now that I'm a CFO of a property management company? What does that look like? Every year I pick a word, and this year my word was reset. I really needed to reset everything. A lot of things had changed over the last year. I'd become heavily involved in industry things. I'm on several boards and I'm doing a lot of legislative stuff. So I needed to sit down and figure out, how am I going to be efficient and effective at all of this that I'm trying to get done? And how I'm going to make sure that I stay healthy myself and that I'm not neglecting my personal things. First thing I needed to do was reset. I wrote a job description. I reset all of my routines. I'd set routines up several years ago. They somewhat were working. There were some things I just wasn't doing, so it was negotiating. Do I really need to do this or do I not? And it was prioritizing health, I think, was the biggest thing for me. It was realizing that if I'm gonna work out, I needed to literally do it first thing as I roll out of bed. I can talk myself out of anything. I would have talked myself out of working out if I did it any later in the day. It was finding something I could do at home, literally don't have to leave or drive anywhere, roll out of bed, put on workout clothes, go in the living room, workout. And that's actually been working now for, it's almost September, 9 months, a little over. That's working out really well. At the beginning of the year though, when I'm trying to reset everything, first thing I needed to figure out was goals. What goals do I need to set? What am I doing? I started off by using power sheets. I'd seen a review of them online and they were really interesting. The questions that were being asked were really good and it was a really good jump start. So that was actually where I started at the beginning of this year. And that gave me 10 goals to work on. And I knocked out probably a good half of them in the first 6 months of the year, which, believe me, is amazing because I was traveling a lot the first 6 months of the year, and that's unusual. I don't normally travel that much. Right now, as of August, I have, I think, 4 goals left. One I'm working on, one scheduled to be done in November, one's being negotiated. I don't think I'm going to complete it, so I'm probably just going to cross it off and say, nope, not going to worry about it. And then I have one scheduled to be completed in Q4. So doing pretty good. Out of 10 goals, I'm at 6 and going to hit 9 by the end of the year. It's not bad. My planning has changed quite a bit. I've been through several inserts. I do use several planners, but that's because some of them are not necessarily, I have like a fitness log, but I don't need to carry that with me every single day. I just fill it out morning and evening and just update it. I use a planner for my quiet time. Again, not something I need to carry with me. It's just something I have to write in. It's like a journal essentially. And then I also have one that I do carry with me. So that's where my monthly, my weekly, my daily planning is. I also have a momentum planner as well. We'll actually talk about a little bit more, and that's something I just discovered. So that being said, that's kind of where I am right now. The Momentum Planner, it's kind of the next step for me beyond the power sheets. It's about setting annual goals and then breaking things down quarterly, monthly, weekly, and then even down to daily. So that's where I've been working recently. I started off, remember that job description? I have areas of focus that's built into that. And so I took each of those areas of focus, figured out what projects need to happen in each one. For me, that's making sure everything's moving forward and not just one area. And I also talked with my business partners. If you're doing something similar, you may want to talk with your coworkers, your boss, maybe your spouse if it's house related, and see, what projects do they think you need to be working on. There were a few things that they had mentioned that's like, oh yeah, I do need to be working on that. I was so focused on a few other areas that I didn't see the one or two things that they were thinking we need to be working on as well. I've been using it for probably a couple of months now. I've actually been seeing projects moving forward, whereas it's like, oh yeah, I need to do, let's say, the budget for 2018. I do need to do that, but it's something that's like, oh, I can do that next week, or oh, I can do that next month. But then I'm not really thinking about how much time it's going to take. So this actually lets me sit down, figure out what's my project, how long is this going to take, what do I need to break it down into, how much time do I need to allot. And then it's also good that I've already done my routines, because I have to schedule all these projects around my normal routine type of tasks that I have to do every single day or every single week. So I know when I do payroll, I'm shot for the rest of the day. I have energy to do meetings, but I don't have energy to do creative work. That being said, that's actually the next step that I'm working on, is figuring out what is my energy level. When are my high peaks of energy? What are my low points of energy? Can I try and schedule my creative time, the time to work on these projects when I'm feeling most creative and most energetic, and then do things like meetings or more mundane tasks that don't require a lot of energy or a lot of thought process behind them. Figuring out how I can schedule that as much as possible to take advantage of the time that I have when I feel most energetic, which is a little ironic, I have to admit, because even though I'm not a morning person, my times of highest energy are between 8 and 11 in the morning, and then about 4:30 and 7 in the afternoon, which explains a little bit about why I always work late, because just as I'm getting ready to go home is when I have a burst of energy. That's also, I think, part of because nobody's at the office, and so it's a little quieter as well. So I do want to walk you through the planning methods and the planners that I'm using right now. It's not necessarily the order that I went in, but I figure we'll start big and then narrow down to small. So we'll start with annual and the Momentum Planner, and then we'll narrow down to daily and weekly. And I will split everything up because I don't want this to be like a 4-hour video or anything like that. I will break down each of the different areas into separate videos. If it hasn't been uploaded yet, look for it shortly. I'll probably be uploading these every week or so until they're done. And there probably will be a series of 3 or 4 videos, including this one. So look for that. And with that, I'm going to switch the camera around and we'll take a look at the actual planners themselves. So this is a giant stack of planners. It may look intimidating, but again, if you remember, I said I don't actually carry these every single day. So this top one is my fitness log, and mainly I just am recording things in this in the morning and in the evening. I keep track of weight and each day kind of what I'm eating, number of calories. I do also use the MyFitnessPal app on my phone, so a lot of times it's just because I'm looking for trends. So, oh look, I ate a whole bunch here, what happened with my weight? I keep track of my exercise, the total number of calories I've worked out, eaten, and again, it's one of those things I'm not super particular about it. If I miss a day, oh well. It's mainly just part of I'm an experiment of one, and this is feedback for me. All right, this next planner is my everyday carry. It is a Boss Babe Kate Foxy Fix rings. My first 30mm rings, I really like it. I can fit everything in here. I will go through this at a different time, show you what's in it, and do kind of a walkthrough. All right, so this is an Erin Condren neutral. I use this kind of as a general planner, something I keep around the house. It's just general information about what's going on, where I'll be, the workouts I'm doing in the morning, like trash day, payday, that sort of thing. So this just stays on my desk at home. It's kind of by the front door. If my husband wants to know where I am, or I need to remember what I'm doing in the morning or where I need to be, this is out so I don't have to hunt down my everyday carry notebook. So I do use it. Sometimes it's annoying that I'm duplicating some writing efforts, but for now it's serving a purpose, so I'm going to continue using it. All right, so this one is a regular sized happy planner. It's the Faith Edition, so the whole thing is themed. In it, what I'm doing is actually using it to do the Bible study that I'm working on. So I'm writing verses and notes about it, prayer requests, that sort of thing. At a certain point, I was using this to write down birthdays and anniversaries. I haven't gone ahead and gone forward to do that. I think I left off in August, but I will probably get to that again at some point in the future. But for now, I'm just, like I said, writing down Bible verses. This is the book that I have my momentum planner in. It's a Martha Stewart version of the ARC planner, Levenger Circa. This is the daily productivity map that I was talking about. It has kind of when I have peak productivity, when it dips off, food coma, comes back up. There's my afternoon productivity bump, and then I'm sleeping right here usually. I mentioned that I had broken down my job description in areas of focus. That's what each one of these are. I also made a note over here of where I'll be traveling next year, unknowns, which some of them are now known as of this week. And let me show you what this looks like. All right, so this is the annual page. So it has your annual goals. It has a spot for values, themes, or challenges. So last year I had a theme of reset, and then I had a challenge. So I had circled the C that I was traveling the first 2 quarters of the year. That was a challenge because that really interfered with what I was able to get accomplished. There's a spot for major events. I had left this section blank last year. This coming year, I'm using it for where I will be, if I have any trips coming up, major events, that sort of thing. Spot for your quarterly objectives coming from your annual goals. And this section, I actually used as a Gantt chart last year because I had some projects that spanned over quarters. And so I just made a note of when I expected those to end. So this is what the quarterly page looks like. And I will link this below. The monthly and weekly and daily pages are actually available for free. You can buy the whole planner, and that includes the annual and quarterly pages. The quarterly pages has a spot for your annual goals, your quarter 1 objectives, major events that are happening, and then for each month, your monthly objectives, milestones, and benchmarks. So these two, if you have a project that has a bunch of smaller steps, it's kind of how you know you're making progress on something. So this is the monthly page. So again, you're bringing forward your quarter 1 objectives, your monthly objectives. There's a spot for scheduled events, and then for each week of the month, for you to transfer things over and plan out when you're going to get things done to move your objectives forward. This section here, the Emergent Projects, is actually my favorite section because no matter how much I plan, something always comes up that somebody else gives me to do, or it's just something that shows up, and this gives me a spot to write those down. So if I don't get something accomplished, I can look back here and see, oh, I had something that came up that was more important that I didn't expect. All right, so that's the monthly. I didn't print out any weeklies for 2018. This is what the weekly version looks like. So again, bringing forward your monthly objectives, your scheduled events for that week, projects you want to accomplish for that week, any deadlines, so things that have a hard deadline, and then a place for you to break everything down by day. There is a spot for planned versus actual time. This has been interesting because sometimes I overestimate how long something will take and sometimes I underestimate. So it gives me a chance to see where I'm off, so I can sit back and think, well, why am I off? What do I need to plan for differently next time? So that's pretty interesting. I don't actually use the dailies for this because I actually use the dailies in here. I don't have many days left at the end of this month. So these are something that I saw on the Planner Spots YouTube page. She does not have them available for sale, so I actually really liked the structure and I went through, made my own using InDesign. She is going to be putting these out for sale, I believe, in her Etsy store. They're not available yet though. This is actually where I record all of my daily information coming from the weekly. That's kind of how it flows through for me. All right, so the rest of this notebook, I just have sections for notes, for meetings I'm attending. I do have the power sheets back here where I started working. And let me pull up, there it is. So this is the page that had all of my 2017 goals on it. First goal, remember I mentioned I was trying to take care of myself and get to a healthier weight, just be healthier in general. So that was the first one. And the second one was to clear clutter from the house. That's an ongoing battle. That's one I'm hoping to be tackling in Q4. The NAA Lyceum program, that's the one that'll be wrapping up in November, so that's on its way to being done. I did get all my credit card debt paid off. That happened in March. I mentioned earlier I rewrote my job description in January. Defining industry involvement and the deadline deadlines and the goals for each of those. I did that in January as well. There's so much that I'm involved in. I wanted to make sure I had a clear view of what all I was committed to so that I could back out of things or not commit to something in the future if I needed to change. Develop a regular quiet time with God. This is one of those things that's an ongoing goal, but it's something that I've become much more regular with. Become a better manager. So I follow the Manager Tools podcast. Their trinity, which I reference here, is one-on-ones, coaching, and feedback. I've been getting better about the one-on-ones with all of my team members, and now I'm starting to try and work in coaching as well as the feedback portion of that. So my next one was to reset household life and work routines to serve my goals. I did that February, March. It was kind of after I figured out what else I was involved in and what my routines needed to be. And then I referenced a goal that is just pretty much going to be crossed off. It's not as important to me anymore, and that's okay. And that was originally to learn more about photography and take better pictures. It's something I can always do. It's not something that has to happen this year. I thought I might have a little extra time to commit to it. I didn't, and that's okay. It's not that big of a deal. So anyway, that is what I'm working with right now and all of that. And I will be going into each one of these in more detail. As far as the momentum planner goes, I'll be talking about how this feeds into my monthly, daily, weekly that's in my everyday carry and how I use all of that to keep myself organized and moving forward. Please hit the like button if you like this video, and please hit the subscribe button so that you can find out when the next videos are released. They should be coming out once a week or so for the next couple of weeks. Thank you.